crazy. Well, here we go again. Y'all ready? My journey now. I won't turn back from my journey now. It's hard, Lord, but I won't turn around. I won't turn back from my journey now. Say it again, Lord. Turn back from my journey now. I made up my mind to do God's will, so I don't mind climbing these rugged hills. I've been talked about, I've been lied on, but I won't turn around. Gotta make heaven my home. Yeah, my journey now. I won't turn back from my journey now. It's hard, Lord, but I won't turn around. Say y'all, turn back from my journey now. Beginning to get it hot now. Turn back from my journey now. Wait a minute, y'all. Feeling pretty good right now. Is there anybody here feel like me? Now, Spank, are you ready to go? What about you, sophomore? Tell me, are you ready to go? Nigga, tell me what you ready to go? Robin, Terrence, big time. What about you, A-Trump? What about you, A-Trump? Boy, you better wait on Trump like you need a boy.
It's around Florida in the Gulf of Mexico, and the French come in around the Gulf of Mexico in the New Orleans part. Then you had the Dutch coming in, and you had different Arabian nations coming in too, who attacking. And you had some Moors from North Africa, Nigeria, and Morocco. A lot of them folk were coming too. And they were bringing their own people into slaves. So the European, or the white European, was the main one bringing the white people as slaves. Because America was looked at that time as a penal colony. And so all the folk they were having trouble with, they were going to bring them over in the penal colony and make slaves with them. And then they had just like they had to do today, sometimes you could do, give you life in prison. And they were bringing these folk to sit up here and build up their colonies for them. A lot of people, as we stated, they came here free. They were free people. They were free people when they came. They were said to be the freedmen, or the poor white people, regardless of skin color, and they were poor white people. These are the main ones that ran away and formed tribes like the Creek. And the Africans were some of the last of the slaves to come over. That was the African slave was the last slave that they really started bringing in. They didn't start bringing Africans here as slaves until the so-called United States had formed under George Washington. But a lot of this with the Creek, this started way before the George Washington deal. Because when the English got here, there were already so-called Creek tribes set up from Spanish men and French men and Dutch men and women and stuff. So they already had little tribes that were forming. And most of these folk that were coming over in the early part was runaway, and they mixed in with our women. And that's why they get you that say that, some of the Indian tribes were matriarchal. That was the Aboriginal people was a matriarchal society. We do everything by the mama. That's why most of us spend more time around our mama and our mama side of the family than we do around our dad's side of the family. But the Creek, they were more matriarchal. which came from over the water. They were the men, a lot of them were the men who ran away and formed like these little Creek tribes. And they mixed in with our women. Well, their children were said to be mulatto, meaning they come from in the foreigners' law, they were said to be mulatto, being that they came from the daddy was a white man or a foreigner, and the mother was an aboriginal, or we're going to use native for a better word, we understand was a native that were already him, or aboriginal people. You know, the do-right looking people. You know, because do-right ain't black, do-right red looking. He the original red man. He is the original red man. You can look at it and see red and mahogany. Look at all in my damn face and all in my skin. Do-right is the do-right looking people are the original red man. And so the Creek were more matriarchal. So they started learning our system of government, and we would strategically place them and get them land between different tribes for their protection. And we were teaching them our forms of government. They were teaching them our form of government and the way we did things. We didn't have so much to do with the way they ran their government society, as long as they weren't trying to have no slaves, you know, and make slaves out of people. We had no problem. But a lot of these people that became like the Creek, they became what is known as traitors. Because over a period of time, they started learning both languages. So they would be used as buffer for trade. You know, so because they could speak 2 or 3 different languages, you could trade among more people. So they would come maybe like get some deer skin from us, and then go somewhere else and trade it for corn. Or trade it for some other, for moccasins, for clothes, or whatever. The Creek became like traders. And so the original colony people who was forming the United States at that time, they couldn't pay so much attention to these people because they was fighting what is called the Hessians. These were Moors that went up into Europe after they were kicked out of Spain. And they were like pirates. And what they do, they were landing people apart and military attack them. And then they started setting up what they call maritime law. The laws of the water, because they were said to be the navigators of the sea. So the Moors is known for controlling the sea waves and the ports. Well, when they were kicked out of Spain, a lot of them went up into Europe. They went up into England and Germany and France and Belgium and all these different places that's in Europe. They start going up in Holland. They start going up into these places. That's how they give you the legend about the Moors. You know, about the Hebrews, mainly out of Europe. It come out of the one of them will tell you the Hebrews, the other tell you the Moors and the Jews. But the Jews were those that had mixed in with the Spanish. And the Spanish, they kicked all their ass out because they couldn't trust none of them. So they kicked those, the Spanish even kicked their half-breeds out. Those that had Spanish blood in them, they kicked them out with the Moors and the Jews. Now they try to trick you and try to make you think there was some type of religious thing, like the one that were Christian they didn't kick out. That's a lie. They kicked out the pure-blooded Moor and all the Moorish children. Especially if they had a Moorish dad, they kicked them out. So they kicked out all the half-breed, all the mulatto. And then the Moors and the Jews are the same people. So then they end up fleeing to places like Holland and England and British Columbia and the UK. You know, the different names that they got in there now. And some of them took and went back up in Arabia, went back up in Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran, back up in there. There was some of them took and ran off back up into, but a lot of them, biggest of them, went up into England because they really couldn't go back over in Arabia. Those that looked at more like the people of Arabia went into Arabia. But the dog one, they knew they couldn't go back in Africa because the Nubian had chased them up out of Africa. The Nubian ran them up out of Africa. You know, they later rebound and made themselves lighter and everything. Hold on, y'all. I got to take this phone call. And, hello. Hey, baby. I'm sorry I didn't get on up there. So the dude come here and work on his air conditioning. Daddy was gone, so I couldn't leave him here by himself. Maybe he'll be leaving in a little bit. You done made it back home? Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to put the video together, and let me hit you back. All right, bye bye. But the mole, they would kick. The Nubian had ran them at that time. The Nubian had ran them up out of the Africa part and really ran them over into the Spain part with Hannibal and them. And then they were kicked out of the Arabia. The Arabian people kicked them out. And all their children out, all the mixed breed children that they had. Then they went up into England. And the English was the kind of folks in Europe, or those that came, folks out of Europe, and a lot of the people in Europe were dark-skinned people. They weren't, because European and white is not necessarily synonymous. Every landmass already has some dark-skinned people on it. And it seems we think it's racism a lot of times, but we claim and we let these moles, the dog moles, hide among us. And the world trying to get them and eradicate them. Like in a few days, they're going to be kicked out of America. We got them now, really in America, where they can't go nowhere. We got them now where they can't go nowhere. And the army is over there tearing up and destroying all the places that they might go. Malachi York told y'all that. But, he told it to it. Told the mole they trying to destroy everywhere that we might go. They tried, but see, because they thought Malachi one of them, which he is, part one of them. But on his mama side, he a Master Indian. He know he is. On his mama side, he is Master Indian. Just like Elijah Muhammad was a Master Indian. Just like Noble Drew Ali was a Master Indian. Like Marcus Garvey was a Master Indian. By their mama, by their daddy's side, they were Moish. They were moles on the daddy's side. So, and because of their daddy's side, they was able to go out and get the history. That's why Jesus said in the Bible. He told Mary when he was in Egypt, contending with the doctors of the law. He said, I got to be about my father's business. They went out there and got the history of their father, which was the Moish side. So they could protect their mama side. And one of these days, we're right going to sit down and go into real big detail about this. He's going to go into real big detail on what these men like Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, even Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X, and Malachi York, and how they really kind of locked them down, and even John Henry Clark, and how they went out and got their history. But these were said to be mulatto children, because they were mixed with the mole and the native, with the mole and the original people of the soil wherever the mole went. Bottom line, you can get mad about it, you can do with it what you feel like you can do about it, but it just is what it is, and you might well come on in, because Santa Claus coming to town. But when these moles went up into Europe, they were chased out, and they were chased up into what is known as the Caucasus Mountain. There in the Caucasus Mountain, they started breeding with what is known as the Neanderthal, which was like an ape man. You know, they try to tell you all white folks are Neanderthal. That's a lie. All what we call white folk ain't no Neanderthal. You had so-called Caucasian, what we call Caucasian today, Caucasian-looking people all over the damn globe. Bottom line, on every continent, you have some folk that look like what they call Caucasian on it. So all Caucasian are not Neanderthal. Some of them Neanderthal were dark-skinned. Because evolution is real. Creation is real, and evolution is real too. Because every gene gonna get weak. That's why the dog can do right here, him and a woman blacker than he can get together and have what we call a white baby, an albino, with blonde hair and blue eyes. All people have albinos. Even among white folk, they have albinos among them. So evolution is real. But creation is real too. They one and the same, basically. So the mold went to mixing in with these Neanderthals. And like Elijah Muhammad said, the Moses and the Abraham and the Moses, Malachi York brought the fact that Abraham was the one that went up in there and got him up out of there. The first group of them. These are the ones that are known as Jews today. The one that Abraham got whipping up out of there, they known as Jews today. And the one that the Moses got up out of there, they known as Christian today. No, the ones that Abraham got out, they are said to be Hebrews. The ones that Moses got out, they said to be Jews. So you got the Hebrew and then you got the Jew. And the Hebrew was the full-blooded one. The Hebrew was the full-blooded.
Well, here we go again.
Mo. The Jew became the mixture of the Mo and the Neanderthal. Coming over there and through that process of